All right, what's going on, everybody? It's been a minute since I made a video. The reason being for that is what's going on in the PC gaming market and the PC market in general right now, dealing with AI data centers, dealing with tariffs, dealing with the fact that people are scalping prices on the used market now. Generally, the whole PC landscape is getting kind of weird when it comes to components and building systems due to AI and data centers pretty much being at the uh, communal zeitgeist of PCs. And while it is upsetting and stressful to have consistency when it comes to the content that I was making, which was pretty much trying to help people find a good budget, like a cheap budget, and a more expensive but still good for common sense purchasing uh, plans to build computers. I kind of had to take a step back and try to decide what I wanted to do for content of this channel, and decided to kind of switch from being just a this is how you find deals channel to being more so a channel that goes through the education of computing and different things that you can do with a computer that you already have, an existing computer or a computer that you're planning on building, but trying to do it with a budget in mind, but really focusing more on what you can do with a computer and the explaining the components of a computer and how they work, rather than trying to find people deals and find avenues on how to save a buck when it comes to computing. Because as of right now, computing is a luxury. Even if you know where to go to shop for your PC parts, a lot of things are getting expensive right now in today's climate. Will it change in the future? Maybe for the better, most likely not. So instead of going down that path of deal hunting, I'm going to go down the path of general education. Um, and just to kind of reiterate what's going on, things like this, it's terrible to see, but it's the reality of the situation people are in. So a lot of people are already going to charging high prices for simple components that used to cost between 80 to $150, now going up 100%, 200%, just because data centers are trying to take as much RAM as they can, as much storage as they can out of the marketplace. Now, storage, because it's so ubiquitous when it comes to anything dealing with computing, hasn't gone up in price as much, other than things like NAND flash and stuff like that for smaller chips, more mobile chips. You're seeing increases in RAM, and you're seeing increases in pretty much quick access memory and quick access storage, that it's just causing the whole marketplace in general to kind of switch when it comes to pricing. And kind of going into gaming, you could still have situations with graphics cards going that way as well. But again, we're going with education instead of deal hunting. So regardless of that, what I wanted to really talk about is some of the things that I saw at CES this year that don't have to just deal with AI only, that can actually benefit people when it comes to affordable technology that they can use and utilize. And one of the things that I have to give Intel props for, even though I don't like the way they went about the whole pretty much meshing the political with the company, besides the point. Intel's kind of coming up with some new technology. Again, they made some progress when it came to dealing with NVIDIA, but these aren't really NVIDIA chips at the moment, even though they're kind of working together. These are really focused on just small level compute, low end hardware. They say mobile design, but it's still something that will work on most laptops as well as mini PCs. That's what I'm thinking about. Where they're dealing with lower end chips. So these are Core Ultra 300s instead of the 5. This would be the Core Ultra 3, and whatever range that they do with that, with pretty much like 2 performance cores and 4 pretty much uh, high efficiency cores, but not high efficiency. I would just say low power efficient. So I guess you would say that that's high efficiency, but they're pretty low power. So it's not like you're getting a lot of performance out of them. But six core CPUs, two Thunderbolt ports, Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth. They're trying to go on the low end of the market because they're realizing that more people are going to be targeting this range in pricing pretty soon. Again, as you can see, they don't really have much released. Obviously, you're going to have to look for channels like Gamers Nexus or like a Jay's Two Cents, Linus Tech Tips, things like that, in order to get reporting on what's going on with these systems. But they're most likely going to be very low wattage, very low power draw, not the most crazy max boosts or pretty much default boosts. Obviously, they're meant to be on the low end of the spectrum, but the fact that they're kind of focusing on this range with the newer technologies is not always a bad thing, because all it means is if they get more efficient at the low end, the high end gets even better, but everyone wins when they start targeting the low end of the spectrum. And going into more news, they're trying to come up with their higher end versions with integrated graphics. So like their version of the APU from AMD, or like an integrated graphics from themselves. They're focusing on trying to have a handheld. Now, handheld markets, again, dealing with the low end of system specs, but high end when it comes to your traditional um, Nintendo Switch, things like that, like a portable computer that you can actually play games on. Obviously, this isn't going to compete with the likes of Xbox Ally X, but it's meant to probably go around the mid range, like some of the Aya Neos of a few years ago. Um, Things like that, working off of Windows, because most of the time you won't see Linux on these type of builds. It's not bad. It's just what I'm expecting. I'm not expecting much from these. The design, I hope that's just a placeholder because that design is terrible. But other than that, they're trying to work in different markets. Again, focusing on low end hardware, focusing on handheld hardware, and then even when it comes to their graphics, again, this is just detailing more of the same. They're trying to focus on integrated graphics because they're noticing that people are sticking with mini PCs, laptops, and low end hardware because their other chips don't really move that much, especially the higher end core, the Core nines and the Core sevens. They didn't really move too much, other than like the 265K. I believe that one sold pretty well for their lineup. But other than that, yeah, not too much going on when it comes to Intel high end, but more Intel low end. Now, when it comes to Ryzen, the 9850 X3D finally got revealed. The funny thing is, in their whole press conference, they didn't even talk about it. So I don't understand why AMD is so focused on the part of their lineup that doesn't really deal with consumers. They're mainly keyed into AI data structures and working with those companies. But what really kind of fits the bill when it comes to getting the public to see what they're doing is stuff that they can actually use in their systems, which the 9850 X3D is going to be on the top end of the spectrum. The 9800 X3D, I think, is still $400 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, between 469 and 500. So yeah, it's still a ways to go when it comes to getting this to be something that most people will be able to purchase, especially now when you're adding like that price for RAM as well, capable RAM as well for a M5 system. Yeah, I can see how it'll cause issues with the 9850 if they stick between the maybe $600 range, $650 range. They're it's going to be tough to get it lower than that, especially in today's climate. They're probably going to charge around 650 for it. But yeah, they're going to have to do something when it comes to that. But other than that, it's kind of tough talking about certain things. But we're going to keep looking, and I'm going to keep pretty much seeing all the reports that are coming out of CS and kind of detail y'all on some of the new things. But this is just processors, and obviously talking about RAM really quickly and how bad that situation has gotten. But not the end of the world. You can still do a lot with a computer that you currently have. If you built any time between the last 5 years, you still got a lot of use out of those systems. But other than that, yeah, first video in a long time. I'm rusty. I didn't make much videos anyway, so uh, just again, thank you for listening. Thank you for rocking with me. And if you see this, you'll see me again soon. Thank you. Bye bye.